Jukebox Channel of Fame features. Back in the days when music and cinema were more authentic. The tragedy behind a great success. They became super famous after releasing a song that became a worldwide hit, but unbelievably everyone made money from their music except them. There was a song used in one of the best movies of the 80s, but did you know that behind that great movie, there was a fatal accident, or which famous singer or band refused to sing for the movie? Discover all this and much more with this simple homage to the Top Gun movie and its great song. Hello, welcome friends. Top Gun was released in 1986, making it one of the greatest and most remembered American films of the 80s. Not only did its love story and impressive flight scenes mark a generation, but the project also had one of the most famous soundtracks film history, featuring great songs like Cheap Trick's Mighty Wings, Kenny Loggins' Danger Zone, and the great romantic hit Take My Breath Away, performed by Berlin, a song that was winner of the Oscar for Best Original Song, in addition to leading on Billboard as one of the most played. The film was directed by the British Tony Scott, brother of the already renowned film director Ridley Scott, responsible for historical films such as Robin Hood, Black Hawk Down, Alien, Blade Runner, Gladiator, among other successes. In Top Gun, the main character of the story is the rebel aviator Maverick, played by Tom Cruise, who competes alongside other outstanding pilots to win first place at the Combat Arms School in Miramar, California. This is a demanding institution that trains the best pilots in the United States Navy, and is known to aviators as Top Gun. During his training, Maverick begins an affair with one of the flight instructors, Charlie Blackwood, played by actress Kelly McGillis, and thus establishes a rivalry with one of the pilots known by the code name Iceman, played by Val Kilmer. A curious fact is that director Tony Scott originally wanted the role of Charlie to be played by Jodie Foster. However, she competed with the role and the choice ended up being McGillis. The film made a big splash for several reasons. Firstly, it featured extremely dangerous aerial footage never seen before on film, albeit performed by talented pilots certified and supported by the US Navy. Another aspect that contributed to its success was that the film featured one of the most memorable soundtracks in cinema history. The soundtrack selection contained a total of 10 songs. Although all of them were excellent and everyone had their favorites, there were two of them that stood out from the others for flight and combat scenes, and the one that became unforgettable was Danger Zone, interpreted by Kenny Loggins, and for romantic scenes the powerful ballad Take My Breath Away by the band Berlin. A curious fact is that the song Danger Zone was initially offered to the rock band Toto, but they turned down the offer, as well as Bryan Adams. Both believed that the film glorified war, and that they did not want their works were associated with this type of fame. So the music was left to Kenny Loggins. Do you agree with the opinion of the band, the artists? Leave your comment about it. Another curious detail is that the producers wanted to include the song Reckless by the British heavy metal band Judas Priest in the soundtrack, but they refused. The band's guitarist, Kenneth Keith Downing Jr., known as KK Downing, explained that they weren't able to accept the offer because they were busy working on their album titled Turbo at that time. However, he emphasized that the refusal had nothing to do with the nature of the film itself. In the end, the decision was seen as a mistake, since, in the words of KK Downing, Top Gun became the highest-grossing film of the year and one of the most popular films of all time, with an unforgettable soundtrack. Regarding Take My Breath Away, the song was written especially for the film by legendary and award-winning composers Giovanni Giorgio Moroder and Tom Whitlock. Also not forgetting the soundtrack to the film, composed by Harold Faltermeyer, which has also become a cultural classic and includes the theme song from the film Top Gun anthem, including a Grammy nomination for Best Pop Instrumental in 1987. The soundtrack also includes another iconic song, Playing with the Boys, plus a song performed by Kenny Loggins in the film. The band Berlin is an American band formed in California in 1978 and led by the beautiful singer Terry Nunn, who was in charge of presenting this great ballad for the film. While it is unclear how exactly the name Berlin came about for the band, it is known that it was chosen to give the band a European aesthetic. According to an article about the band's biography on the website AllMusic, the band's beginnings were rocky with various members coming and going, and by the time of the film they had released 3 albums and had moderate success in the US, with the songs You Don't Know, Masquerade, No More Words, The Metro, and Sex, I'm A. Berlin's fame and popularity skyrocketed after the release of the film, and the song became known almost everywhere on the planet, reaching #1 on the charts in dozens of countries including United States, England, Canada, Belgium, Ireland, and Holland. In addition, she also won the Golden Globe Award in 1987. Taking advantage of the success, Columbia Records then released an album of music from the film, and the disc sold millions of copies worldwide, generating huge profits for the record company. But there was a serious problem for the band Berlin, because they also released the album titled Count 3 and Pray, their 4th album, which also included the famous song Take My Breath Away. So people didn't buy that album, they preferred to buy the soundtrack of the film that had an excellent selection of songs. So despite becoming very famous, the economic profits obtained were almost nil, since 90% of the profits from the sale of the soundtrack went to the producers and the record company. Due to the failure of the last album, internal discussions began within the Berlin group about the direction to follow. In the end, they could not reach an agreement on basic issues, and the group decided to break up. Nunn eventually took over the band's name, releasing a string of albums including 2002's Voyeur and 2013's Animal. In 2019, the classic core lineup of Nunn, Crawford, and keyboardist Dave Diamond officially reunited for the 8th studio album, called Transcendence. In the movie Top Gun, there were reports that there was some tension between the 2 actors, Tom Cruise and Val Kilmer, off the set. In his autobiography, Kilmer wrote that he had some falling out with Cruise, but that they managed to work through their differences and build a friendship over the years. With a resounding success at the box office, with a budget of $15 million and a gross collection of over $350 million, the film also proved to be a success. For the U.S. Navy and Air Force, with pilot recruitment increasing by 500% according to the reports sent by the government, many people even in Latin American countries felt like becoming pilots after watching the movie. Although the U.S. Air Force initially refused to cooperate with the film because of reports of reckless and rebellious pilots. And you, did you also feel like being a pilot at the time after the huge success of the film? Unfortunately, not everything went as expected, because during filming there was a plane crash that resulted in the death of the pilot and stunt double Art Scholl, where he lost control of the plane after performing a dangerous maneuver and crashed at high speed into the sea. Neither the plane nor the pilot's body were recovered. The film was dedicated to his memory. Another negatively striking fact in the history of Top Gun occurred a few years later, in 2012, when the director of the film Tony Scott caused his own death by throwing himself off a bridge in Los Angeles. Obviously, this tragic event shocked everyone, especially his family. There were reports that Tony was battling advanced brain cancer at the time of his death, and that he was taking medication to help him deal with the pain and stress associated with the disease. However, the family does not confirm the disease, much less the use of medication. Overall, the exact cause of Tony Scott's suicide has never been publicly clarified, and his death remains a mystery to everyone. So my friends, if you have a problem, look for a professional. Remember that there are people around you who love you. Never give up on life, because it is our greatest treasure. The second film, titled Top Gun, Maverick was released in May 2022. Tom Cruise again as Maverick, 36 years after the first film, and the vast majority of people who viewers claim that the flight scenes are incredible and impressive, including state-of-the-art military aircraft. The famous enemy of Maverick, Iceman, played by Val Kilmer, made a small appearance in the film. Tom Cruise insisted on the participation of the actor, who is currently undergoing treatment for throat cancer. A fair tribute to his antagonist in the film and a gesture of great nobility, in that if there was any stress between them, as mentioned at the beginning of the video, it was something more focused on the film, as this act by Cruise only demonstrates even more that there is friendship, in addition to a good professional relationship and a lot of respect between them. Actress Kelly McGillis, who played Tom Cruise's love interest in the original Top Gun film, was not asked to reprise her role in the second film, Top Gun: Maverick. According to McGillis, she was not asked to return for the role, and she said she was not surprised or upset by the film's production decision. In interviews, McGillis has spoken candidly about her battle with alcoholism and the change in her physical appearance, which may have influenced the production's decision not to bring her back to the role. Instead, Top Gun: Maverick features Jennifer Connelly as Tom Cruise's love interest, playing the character Penny Benjamin. Cruise stated that casting Connelly was a creative decision and that she was right for the role. Despite not being cast in Top Gun: Maverick, Kelly McGillis continued to work as an actress on other projects and focused on her sobriety and personal well-being. Hello friends! In this video, we tell the story of the iconic movie Top Gun from the 80s, and its famous song. We hope you enjoyed the content. We'd love to hear your opinion on this great classic, as well as who you'd like us to talk about in future issues. Don't forget to like the video and share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thank you for listening, and we look forward to your comments.